What's up, pretty gang? It's your favorite nail tech Peaches back with another video. Today I'm going to teach you how to do a fill correctly. Now, of course, before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe if you like my content. And of course, you guys can become extra pretty by joining my channel membership. Here goes some perks. And of course, the biggest perk of all is I have an Instagram group chat where you can just go on and text me. Like, what YouTuber you could just text, okay? So let's get into it. Step 1 to doing a fill is the takedown. Now, this step is not going to change whether you're doing a takedown, whether you're doing a fill or a soak off, because the thing about it is we can't do no filing, no prepping, no nothing if we got bling and charms still on top, okay? So we want to make sure we pop those off appropriately. Y'all know I don't use nippers to nip the skin, but I will nip the freak out of some bling. Y'all see how 4 weeks will do? Bling still on, period. So after we go ahead and take down the set, we're going to go ahead and get into step 2, which is prep. Now, this is where I'm seeing a lot of people are using techniques that are not what we would really want to see, okay? So when we're doing prep, we already know that means we are prepping the natural nail for enhancements. We're prepping for acrylic, all of those good things. But what we really need to pay attention to is how we are prepping for fills. Now, please keep in mind what you guys are seeing me doing is actually removing all of the dead cuticle skin. We are removing any lifting and basically anything that doesn't belong. Now, I know you guys are probably wondering, why am I not removing the design? I'm gonna get into that a little bit later, but right now, I really want to focus on something in particular. So you guys are going to see me stop the screen a couple of times, and I'm going to put some really important words up, okay? Are y'all ready? You ready? Okay, peep this. Remove all of the lifting, okay? If you do not remove all of the lifting, what you're going to have is a fill that does not have any longevity. So you guys can see the angles at which I'm doing. I want you to remember something else. You need to watch the speed and the angle at which you are filing. If you are not careful and you don't keep your file flush, okay, what's going to happen is you're going to dig a moat into somebody's nails, which is also known as rings of fire. If you are noticing when you do fills or even new sets on clients, but this can especially happen with fills when it's a lot harder to keep your e-file flush, you will dig into somebody so bad it is not even funny. So again, I'm going to have another I'm going to have another stop pop up, okay? And we're going to just take a look at how I'm filing. So you guys see that? I'm moving the finger around how I need it to be so that way I can keep my e-file flush against the lifting product, so that way I am not digging into the nail. You really need to make sure that when you're lifting away the product, you need to lift more than where you just see it lifting at. Okay, and what I mean by that is, do you see how I'm actually taking down the apex itself, and then I'm going ahead in different areas and removing what needs to be removed? If you only focus on the part that seems wiggly, or that seems like, oh, I can kind of see, where there's lifting at, you will dig into somebody's nail. Now, I really want to talk to you guys about a few key words, which are infill, refill, fill, rebalance. All of those are essentially the same thing. I know you guys probably see on social media, there's a lot of people like, oh, 7-week-old set, is this a rebalance or is this a refill? Y'all, it's neither. That's called a soak off a new set. Keep in mind that fills are to be done between 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm just talking about the hands, okay? Because the rate of nail growth shows that between 3 to 4 weeks, along with people's, lives, their jobs, etc., that is typically when you lose strength in the nail. Going at every 2 weeks is way too soon, and that's way too much trauma and drilling on the nail. So if you're finding you have clients that need to come every 2 weeks, it's either going to be because A, their job and lifestyle, such as hairstylists, barbers, other nail techs, things like that, can cause your nails to not last. People who work with a lot of water or a lot of chemicals. However, if that is not your client and you're still finding, oh man, why do I have to do fills every 2 weeks? It's probably because your initial set is not secured and needs a little bit more work, okay? Because fills every 2 weeks are special circumstances. Now, again, I know there's a lot of lingo floating out there, and it seems like a rebalance means, well, that just means you file everything down as thin as you can go and we just start over. You should never be filing someone's nails as thin as you can go just to start over and then call that a fill. You guys, a fill just means we are refilling the empty space because we are rebalancing the nail. When you need a fill, that means the nail is unbalanced, there's no longer any strength left, and we need to go ahead and put the strength back into the enhancement. If your clients are waiting 7 to 8 weeks and think that there's no lifting, if you think there's no lifting, if you think that it's even worth it to do a fill at that point, That is why your times are taking so long, because it's not a fill. This particular client, it took me about an hour and a half or so to do this set, just because we also did nail art and a little bit of charms, etc. So I'm looking at her nails because I'm like, girl, what's going on? We determined that she's having some medical issues, which is causing, you know, those little white marks on her nails. So don't worry. Step 3, application. Now, when we are doing application, when it comes to a fill, what we are not doing is adding acrylic to the whole entirety of the nail. As you guys can see, I am just replenishing the area that is empty and blending down the rest. This is not the opportunity to try and turn a basic set into an ombre. This is not the opportunity to try and add marbling and all these different types of things, because you will have a nail that is unbalanced. What will happen is, if right now you're trying to switch up the acrylic designs, okay, you're going to have a nail that is very thick in an area where it doesn't need to be thick. So if you are having a client that they have an acrylic design that you need to go ahead and fill, we're doing still the minimum acrylic. If I had to do a marble right now, I would just take the 2 colors and let them do their thing. Extremely thin layer. Okay, so I want you guys to remember that. Now, because this is a basic set, I don't have to worry about doing any sort of design. I'm going right over what's already there. All right, you guys, I actually had to take a couple of clients, but I am back, and I apologize for the lack of energy. My head hurts so bad. I physically just cannot, but I still have one more client, so I'm taking this time to go ahead and do this because it's already taken me a few days to get this video together. So as I was saying, you really want to just pay attention to how much acrylic you're putting and where you're putting it. Now, again, this is a basic fill. There is no acrylic design that we have to be careful of or anything like that. So you're just putting the apex back together and smoothing down the extra acrylic to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Now, I will say, if you don't normally do fills, you are missing out, and the reason why I say that is because that means you never see your work come back to you. So you can assume the longevity of your work, but you don't actually know. And if clients are not telling you that they're having issues and they would rather be like, oh, well, she doesn't do fills anyway, there's just no point, then you're definitely not going to understand issues and how to resolve them and how to improve for next time. So if you're a person that really wants to improve in your work, I definitely recommend adding fills, because that is going to be the real test, and you are going to absolutely know how to proceed next time when you are seeing things that you don't like. So again, if people are coming back and you're seeing things that like, oh, I need to fix this, that, and the other, this would absolutely be the time. So what we're going to do for the next step is obviously going to be filing and shaping. Now, I am going to, again, kind of point out that technique absolutely matters. So if you're feeling like your fills are not lasting and you feel like the other parts are going well, so far from what you're seeing in this video as it relates to your own work, then that means the next steps are probably what is not going so well, meaning sealing the cuticles, all the finished filing and things like that. I do also want to point out that if a client's nails are visibly lifting off or hanging or are just not secured, then we would not even proceed with a fill in the first place. So also keep that in mind if you're feeling like your fills aren't lasting. Okay, so let's go on to the next step, which is step 4, shaping and filing. Now, this is where I personally will file off any designs. Now, the reason why that is, I didn't do it before, is because with fills, typically they can go a lot quicker with the application. So this allows me to keep my hands busy and not waste time while the acrylic is drying. Now, this also gives the client the option of, like, if I were to keep the design, this is what I would do. I would just pretty much go around it and then fix the design as needed. And that also saves time. So if you're a person looking to, try and figure out where can I save time at, fills are not worth the money, blah, 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 I want you to know that this is the steps where you save time, and yes, fills are worth the money. Okay, now shaping and filing can be a little bit difficult because typically this is also going to show you like how your shapes and things are growing out, how people's nails are growing out. So you are essentially reshaping the nail to previous nail, I guess you could say. But the natural nail has to make sense. So if you're seeing a lot of the natural nail poking out, you're going to have to be careful because you also don't want to mess up the integrity of the nail. So just be careful when you're going under the nail and filing and things like that, okay? So what she just showed me is a picture of a design on my page that I've done previously, and she actually wanted that design, which I honestly love. I did it on my cousin when she was going to Rolling Loud some months ago, and I actually did that for her on a fill as well. So if you are looking for an easy design, I'm going to show you basically a really easy design that you can do on fills. Okay, so pretty much as you're filing, you just want to keep in mind that we do have the natural nail under there, and it is longer, and so we need to be careful of that. Okay, now when we're doing our cuticle work and we're doing our little touch-ups, you need to just keep in mind that we want to secure the cuticle area really nice and tight. And again, as we're going underneath the nail, we need to be careful of the natural nail because it is longer. We just have to be careful. We don't want to damage it in any way. You want to make sure all the sides of the nails, there's no cracking or anything like that. And again, I'm going to reiterate some of the things when it comes to fills that I feel like people are kind of not taking into consideration. And one of those things is the natural nail underneath. Just keep in mind that it's really not appropriate to be doing fills on 7-8 week old nails, just simply because the natural nail is too long. And so even if you were to rebalance the nail, it just doesn't make sense, because now the enhancement is almost as long as a natural nail. And then in that case, it's just not, there's no way the natural nail is going to be able to support this underneath. So basically you have a long natural nail with a nail tip on top that's grown out, with acrylic that's grown out. So again, even if you rebalance it, it's honestly just not the healthiest thing. And if somebody does get hurt, they're going to feel really, really hurt. Okay, so anything past 4 weeks, you need to go ahead and just soak off and be mindful of that for that reason. So now we are moving on to the fun part, which is step 5, the design. Now this particular design is just blooming gel. I am using the not polished blooming gel, which is called Blossom Gel. I do have coupon codes in the description if you guys are interested in saving a little bit of money. Now this particular design is very easy. I'm just gonna kind of do a couple of stripes layered on top of each other, like different layers of striping, and then I'm gonna add some flower charms and some pearls, and we're gonna pretty much call it good. Now I pretty much want to finish this video off by saying, by no means am I bashing anyone that is doing things incorrectly, I guess you can say. It's just more so to open everyone's eyes to some of the things that can absolutely go wrong with fills, and just to kind of let you guys know that fills definitely are worth it, and they are worth the money. Now I personally don't believe in charging the same exact price as a regular set on a fill, just because the whole point of fills is for people to be able to save money. Like, come on, let's just be honest. Now I personally charge less for designs, of course, because I'm not starting from scratch or anything like that. However, the more lifting, I will add a higher price tag. And at a certain point, if I feel like this just is no longer a fill, then congratulations, we have a soak off and you need to rebook and come again. So, you know, you absolutely can make money on fills. This is a great way for you to see your work come back, and for you to understand what maybe have gone wrong last time. And just also keep in mind that everything is not always a client's fault. And if you don't have a good understanding of the basis of your work, then you can't advise clients how to move in the coming weeks, okay, and what to do, when to come back, and how to advise them. So just keep all that stuff in mind. Now, of course, you guys know that I absolutely love what I do, and I absolutely love making YouTube videos. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I really hope that you guys would subscribe, give it a like, you know, push it into the algorithm and all that. Once again, I apologize for my low energy, but y'all, it's taken me days not only to edit this, but the previous video I was editing completely got deleted. So yeah, anyways, of course, this is the end of the video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.